The scene shifts to the fortress, where an enraged Volter begins to cut down several of Milan's soldiers. Wicken continues to shredding screams, death throes, and the cries of soldiers plunged into despair. He finishes by telling Logan that he is defeated. Everyone is cornered. Sir Clayton wonders how this can be. Someone arrives and calls his name. Sir Clayton turns and sees that it is Henkel, who tells him he has a request. What a chapter. What does Henkel have in mind? Will Milan manage to get out of this situation? Will Logan do something? Some soldiers ask, how many hours has that been now? One answers 2. No, 3 hours. We see they are talking about a young Henkel and Patrick Milan, who is then a young prince. Henkel is holding a plank position, while Patrick sits on his back, cleaning his sword. The soldiers mutter, Prince Patrick is ruthless. Really ruthless. Patrick says, tell me what your fault is, Henkel is. He is dead on his feet. A minute in a plank is exhausting. Imagine 3 hours of it. Henkel answers, I chased the knight from another viscount's house. Patrick snaps, chased us. What do you mean by chased us? Are you proud that you ignored me and ran off on your own? You can't get your head straight. Henkel replies, young lord, but they insulted you first. How could I stand by and hear them insult you? We learn he had beaten another soldier and was stopped by Patrick himself. As he rises from Patrick's back, Patrick says, the mere baron's son, became a senior knight. That level of envy and jealousy is just cute. Still, well, thank you. He offers his hand. Henkel explains, I found out later that you went to the viscount who raged about punishing me personally and that you bowed your head before him yourself. This man is not someone who should be treated like that. Restore Milan's former glory and rise even higher. Him to that place. Years pass. I became the commander of the Knight Order, and Milan remained a small, rural barony. The young lord still a senior knight. Everything was in its place. Then someone comes up behind him and says, I formally greet you, Commander. From today, I will join the Knight Order's training. Henkel turns and is shocked to see Logan Milan. The scene cuts back to the battlefield where the giant Lither says, I'll stop the bombardment and order the climb up while your excellency strikes the wall. Soldiers begin to climb the wall slowly. Rainian attacks Voltermeyer, who calmly parries and sends him flying like an ant. Patrick, speaking to Aileen and Worry, says, I told you not to clash directly with an aura. She replies, but how are we supposed to bring him down without clashing? Even Fragus Cold only manages to block the heat. The young lord is tied down by the first prince's army. The scene shifts to Logan and Wicken, who says, now admit defeat. Then the prince may graciously decide to end it by cutting down your house's necks. Then, with a threatening look, he adds, or do you want to die here with your men? Logan, after a few seconds, answers, no, I can't do that. Wicken is surprised. Logan continues, I have a promise to keep. He remembers when he told his father, and Henkel, if you buy me time, I'll cut down the 2 princes in that interval. His father replied, but Logan, aren't you the only one among us who can hold out against a superhuman? Henkel interjects, this is too much of a stretch. Let's try to hold on. Patrick is surprised, but Henkel smiles and says, is it wrong just because the young lord asked for it? Logan is surprised, too. Henkel thinks, I believe in the changes the young lord has brought about. In the present, Voltermeyer before them looks unstoppable. And Patrick orders his men, don't stop the crossbows and bombs. But Henkel marches straight at Volterman. Patrick, astonished, shouts, what are you doing, Henkel? And orders him to stop. Henkel ignores him, determined. The scene cuts to Logan, who says, the people of our domain believe in me without question. It wasn't like that at first. I made it that way. Wicken asks, what are you trying to say? Logan grips his sword and replies, even now, they believe that I will bring victory and are holding on with their lives. He channels his power and rises into the air. Wicken says, right? It's a senseless death you created. Then he asks, do you feel any guilt? Logan answers with a blunt, no, leaving Wicken baffled. Logan throws himself at Wicken with everything he has and shouts, do I have time to be held back by that? I promised everyone of Milan a future different from the past. So, I must grow stronger faster than anyone else. Without stopping, his sword hums with aura. And as he charges, he cries, no, there's no time to sit down. He uses the technique, Divine Sword Secret Technique Form 4, Scorching Heat Strike, and lands a full hit. But Wicken parries with his blade, and thinks, this is it. The skill that blocked my aura many times. He struggles to hold. Still recovering from his fight with Volterman, Logan's blow cuts through and also smashes the ice sphere behind him. The scene returns to Hankel, who says, "The Grand Duke of Mulan is nothing but a walking disaster who causes trouble. I used to think so. I reconsidered a bit when he endured impossible training. Then he gathered mercenaries and armed them with outrageous weapons. And he'd bring in a crowd of mages from somewhere. He even picked up a slave kid and made him a knight, and now even a fiend." Watching them, Hankel thinks, you won't find such a strange group anywhere on the continent. What will become of Mulan from now on? Hackle turns to Patrick and sees him smiling contentedly with Logan. Then he wonders, what will become of Mulan from here? How far can it rise? His eyes roll, and blood starts to drip from his mouth. We see Hackle's attack on Voltram has failed, and he lies worse off. Voltram's sword is lodged in his shoulder. Patrick is shocked to see his friend on the ground. Aileen and Runyan try to rush to him, but Voltram turns and releases his power so violently that neither of them can move. Runyan steps forward, but Aileen shouts, "Get behind my blade." Hackle, dying now, says, "My body is in pain, and the core of my force is completely ruined, yet my senses are sharper than ever." Voltram, having released his power and surrounded everyone, is startled when someone shouts. Now he turns and sees Hackle shouting, "Now, Sir Clayton." From behind, Clayton summons 2 golems with his magic, positioning them beside Voltram and Hackle. The golem seizes Voltram and pins him. Voltram, shocked, says, "What is this?" Then he looks down and is stunned to see Hackle level a crossbow at his face. Hackle fires without hesitation. The bolt strikes him squarely on the forehead, buries in, and shortly after explodes. Have they succeeded in killing him at the cost of Hackle's sacrifice? Logan, watching the explosion from afar, halts and turns toward it, calling out, "Sir Hackle." From that day, Patrick offered his hand to this moment where Hackle gives everything. Their bond transcends lord and vassal. But has his sacrifice been enough? Can even a superhuman survive a point-blank explosion? Find out in the next chapter. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next episode. Bye.